Hey, what's going on, you beautiful people? I bet you guys didn't think I was actually gonna be back. No, 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 no. I was definitely being serious about coming back. Like I mentioned in the previous video, last video was really more about me, an update about me, where I've been, where I'm going, and all that nice, juicy stuff. But I mean, I know you guys don't really care about me. Y'all care about them Houston Texans. That sounded like that one kid on TikTok. Houston Texans. What happened? You guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, we're here to talk about the Texans. I mean, for the most part, their defense is really what I want to talk about. The moves they've made and the moves I want them to make, so we can have like a very scary defense. Now, let's start off with the losses, quote unquote, because some of these guys you replace them with better players, and some of these other guys, man, they're still out there. And for example, Steven Nelson. Steven Nelson is still a free agent. The Texans signed Okuda. I mean, the guy was a third round pick. I mean, a third overall pick for a reason, but he hasn't really like lived up to expectations up until this point in his career. It's like a low risk, high reward type signing, but the Texans still need like a cornerback too, man. They need a cornerback too. Yeah, clearly, like obviously they can draft one in the first round in the draft, but I feel like when you do something like that, it's kind of like just leaving it up to chance. Like hopefully, 22 teams don't pick a corner or pick all the corners, because I mean this NFL draft is kind of wide receiver corner heavy, or I wouldn't say heavy, but like those are the strengths in the first round, wide receiver and corner. So there's a good chance teams that don't need corners are going to get corners just because that's the best player available. That's just the way the cookie crumbles when it comes to the draft sometimes. Um, yeah, so I feel like corner is a questionable spot on that defense now. Another questionable spot I'll say is the defensive tackle spot. I mean, you lost Sheldon Rankins. He's going to Cincinnati. You traded away Malik Collins to the 49ers for a 7th round pick, which I'm totally cool with. I'm cool with trading Malik Collins. I mean, Sheldon Rankins and Malik Collins, they were very nice for us last year, but I do feel like you can definitely get better. Issue is, if the Texans don't get Arik Armstead, there's like a huge hole in the middle of that defense that I don't like. So that's one of the things I do think the Texans need to do. They need to go get Arik Armstead, man. They absolutely have to, because after they got Autry, I figured they were gonna let what's his name Sheldon Rankins walk, but then they traded away Malik Collins, and you're left with a hole because Autry's your starting defensive tackle, even though a lot of people are like, no, he's an edge rusher. Autry can play all over the defensive line, but for some reason people seem to think he's only an end. No, he can definitely play D tackle. He has the size for a D tackle. I mean, the dude's like, what, 285, 290 pounds? So the dude's not, you know, as big as Jacob Martin, Like, Jacob Martin's like 6'2", 235 pounds. Like, come on, man. Like, Autry's your defensive tackle. He's played in the division for like the past, I don't know, as long as I can remember, honestly. I know he gave us fits in Indy. He gave us fits whenever he was in Tennessee. And most of the time, it was when he was rushing from the inside. Now, in terms of Autry versus Rankins or Malik Collins, I feel like Autry is a better pass rusher, can generate more pressure from the inside, to whereas Rankins and Malik Collins are slightly better run stopper. So, I mean, it's kind of here and there. slight upgrade, I wouldn't say so. I'd say you're breaking even with one of them, you know. So now you have the other spot because you got to have two defensive tackles. So that's where the question mark is, man. Because you can draft one, but again, it comes to chance again. And, you know, are you going to pick a corner in the first round? Are you going to pick an interior defensive lineman in the first round? So then you're going to get stuck with a second round defensive tackle or corner, because I do think that should be the, as of right now, as it stands, because they can still sign Eric Armstead. As of right now, you're going corner, defensive tackle. At least that's the way I think they should do it. Corner or defensive tackle in round 1 and 2, but then you're going to have a second round defensive tackle or second round corner starting for you, which in this draft, which by the way, it's one of the weakest drafts in a while. So I'm not sure that's something you want to do. Now, as far as edge rusher goes, you let Jonathan Grenard walk. He went to Minnesota, but you replaced him with someone way better, in my opinion. And that's not a knock on Jonathan Grenard by any means. I mean, the guy's a very good player. He did some good things for us, and he's going to do some good things for Minnesota as well. But Danielle Hunter, man, he's a superstar edge rusher. Like, the dude has been good for multiple years. Even at this point in his career, he's still good. He's a guy that you can't leave one-on-one. Not only that, when it comes to, you know, Jonathan Grenard versus Danielle Hunter, you're getting a better player in Hunter. Not only that, he's not injury prone like Jonathan Grenard. One of Jonathan Grenard's biggest question marks was, can he stay healthy? For the most part this season he did, and you saw what he was able to do. I mean, we had seen that. I think it was, Jonathan Grenard's second year. He had a decent amount of sacks. I want to say he had, like, I don't feel like looking it up, so I'm going to just say, like, 8 or 9 sacks. So, I mean, we knew the potential was there. It was just a matter of staying healthy. He stayed, for the most part, healthy this year. But can he replicate that? It wasn't worth the risk. Can he replicate the production he had this year? Could he replicate staying healthy for the whole year, even though up until this point he hadn't really stayed healthy? So it's better to go with the better player, the player that's more likely to stay healthy. So I definitely feel like Danielle Hunter is an upgrade, and I already mentioned, you know, I feel like you upgraded, or not upgraded, but like a lateral movement between Malik Collins. Let's just say Malik Collins and Autry, but then you need that other defensive tackle. As far as linebacker goes, I feel like you also upgraded him, you upgraded linebacker, letting Blake Cashman walk. He went to Minnesota to join Jonathan Grenard. Now, Blake Cashman, he's a good player, but I just feel like Alshire is just slightly better, but it comes down to the same thing at the end of the day that it did with Danielle Hunter over Jonathan Grenard, and that's health. Whenever we traded for Cashman, what was it, a couple years ago, it was known that it was like a low-risk, high-reward type of ordeal because everyone knew Cashman had skills. It was just a matter of staying healthy. So in situations like that, man, you always go with a player that's healthy. As cliche as it may sound, the best ability is availability. It's true, man. It's true. It's true. But yeah, I feel like the defense slightly got better, just slightly, just based on the simple fact of health. But I do feel like there's still some holes that needs to be addressed, and I feel like they need to do something here in free agency, whether it's bringing back Steven Nelson, which I think they definitely should, or whether it's signing Arik Armstead. If you do either of those two, I'm cool with calling it quits in free agency and getting ready for the draft. Because I do not want to go into the draft needing both a D tackle and a cornerback too. I just feel like that would be setting us up for failure. You know, you can get one, but you can't get the other. I mean, yes, you can get a D tackle in the second round or a corner in the second round, but again, like I mentioned earlier, this is a pretty weak draft class. So I'd rather use free agency to at least bring Steven Nelson back on a 1-year deal to give us a little bit of wiggle room just to see how the draft plays out. I mean, if you come to round 1 and there's a defensive tackle, you take the defensive tackle, and then round 2 you can afford to take a corner, let the corner develop for a year, and just play it like that. Because I haven't even brought up the fact that Jimmy Ward couldn't stay healthy last year, and Jalen Petrie looked like a chicken with his head cut off for most of last season. So you have a question mark at the safety spot. You have a dude that can't stay healthy. You have a dude that regressed in Jalen Petrie because he had a pretty decent rookie year. So you have some holes that you still have to fill. Overall, is the defense better? Slightly, but it can still keep getting better. And hopefully I'm right when I say this. I don't think Nick Caserio is done just yet. I will be shocked if he doesn't sign Arik Armstead or bring Steven Nelson back. And hey, I already said it on Twitter. If Nick Caserio manages to sign Arik Armstead, I will go find him and I'll go give him a big old kiss. But yeah, guys, those are my thoughts on the defense, where they're at right now. Do I think they're this scary defense that everyone's making them out to be on the Twitterverse? Not yet. Not yet. Get me a defensive tackle, bring me back a corner, and then that'd be scary. Because you're not going to fill all those 3 holes in the draft, man. You're not going to get a very good third safety, a very good cornerback 2, and a day 1 starting defensive tackle. And that's not even putting into consideration the fact that the Texans still need a wide receiver 3. The fact that they still need a running back, So there's holes, man. There's holes on this defense that I would like to see addressed before going to the draft. And, hopefully they get done. I think at least one of them will. Whether it's the safety spot, whether it's the corner, whether it's a D tackle. If it were up to me, I'll go get Arik Armstead. I'll go get him right now. I will personally drive to San Francisco, pick him up, throw him in the trunk of my car, then just drive off into the sunset. But yeah, guys, those are pretty much my thoughts on the Texans defense. Like I said, gotta address some of these holes still. But yeah, comment down below your own thoughts on this Texans defense. And yeah, be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.